Welcome everybody to the channel. If you're new, you're welcome. It's quite a nice afternoon, so I'm just hoping the weather stays fine. Open this door if I can. Get my seatbelt sorted out. Where's my seatbelt gone? Can't get my seatbelt fixed. Right, sorry about that. My seatbelt was stuck. It's over this car. Not much room for a seatbelt to put in. Anyway, folks, thanks again to all the new people. I said on many occasions, come up to 2,000. Not far off 2,000 subscribers. We're off down the pub for a beer. Obviously, I can't drink alcohol on my medication, but we're off for a beer. Life's too short. And hopefully I've got a bit more left. As I said, things are moving on with my situation. Hopefully for the good. Everything's fine at the moment. I'm feeling okay. A bit tired, but it's a nice evening, so I just thought I'd share it with you. Off down the pub. Lovely evening. Cato's cooling down a bit. But anyway, one or two things happened on the channel. Like I said, some nice comments. Obviously, recently, I'm still under investigation from the BBC, of course. Meaning they can come at any time they wish. Anytime they wish to come, fair dues. It doesn't bother me because, as I said on many occasions on the channel, when you become license free, you're not watching the BBC. So if they try and get a search warrant to come into my premises, it won't work because they've got no evidence. But the other thing I was thinking about, obviously what people have been saying online, is that the BBC charter coming up in 2027, they're thinking about changing the TV license to become a tax, which it is now. Excuse me. It's a tax which the government imposes on the BBC to get revenue to buy programs, to make programs. That's what the tax is. Now, obviously, if the taxation comes that you have to pay it on your council tax, like poll tax. Remember, Mrs. Thatcher tried to impose every household to pay the council tax to raise more revenue. If you have 5 people live in the house, they all had to pay certain towards the tax. If you've got 5 people live in the house, and when one person was just paying for one, that's how they look at it. So it's raising more revenue. This chairman, who's BBC's looking at this, had to put on a council tax. It ain't going to work, folks. It will not work. I believe you me, there'll be riots in the street. I mean, there's 2 or 3 million people in the last few years have stopped paying. And you can think of, if the government brings that into power, it's going to be not a very good vote winner. Believe you me. As I said, in 3 or 4 years' time, there's going to be a general election, or maybe sooner, the way things are going. Because if it's a taxation, it's going to be state television. That's where it's going to be, folks. There's no other explanation than you have to pay. You have to pay whether you like it or not. And that's not the present option. The present option, you've got the choice, like I have, not to pay. But if they do it the other way, then it's going to be bad news for everybody who doesn't want to pay. You have to pay. Then it becomes a state television. Now, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, Disney, Netflix, Paramount, all these other... What are you doing? Very bad. What's he doing? There's a driver in front in a bit of a mess. All these other TV applications, they don't have a license. You have a subscription, you pay your money and you get it. That's what more simple can it be? And I've told you on many occasions here that it isn't going to work as council tax or revenue tax on whatever your household, what you're watching, on internet tax and stuff like that. The internet now is bad enough paying. If you've got BT, Virgin, you've got Talk, you've got other TV companies. If they have to charge you £1.50 a week, or £2 a week, £3 a week, so you can watch the BBC television, they're not going to like that. They're not going to say, well, we've got to put our prices up because you have to pay for the BBC. State television, when you've got the internet, you have to got the iPlayer, you can watch the iPlayer. They're not going to do that. They don't want to put prices up just because of the BBC. So it's not going to work, folks. It's not going to work. Same with the council tax. You know, it's a corporation tax. And some people, you know, don't have to pay the tax. You know, it's a taxation. Now, you don't have to pay it. If you're on certain benefits and stuff like this, fair enough. But anyway, all this talk, if they make proposals, the government has to make proposals, like I say, statement that they're going to do it. Now, they're just doing this instead of what reaction they're going to get. What reaction they're going to get to all these proposals, because they'll try it out on the public, what they do, leak things out, and say, well, we'll try this, we'll try that. And it's you, the public out there, just say to yourself, I don't want this. And somebody like Reform the BBC, sorry, Reform the UK, Reform BBC, I'm Reform, yeah, sorry, Reform UK, Reform, you know, what's his name, Nigel. If he says we're going to scrap the TV licence before the election comes up, I can see that's going to be a big vote winner for Nigel, a big vote winner, because a lot of the old television situation, TV licence, is out of date. It's just out of date. It was around when there's only 3 channels, you know, and you pay for the TV licence. So anyway, folks, in my opinion, if that happens, I will go to jail anyway. I won't pay it anyway. I won't be paying it. How are they going to enforce it? They can't enforce the present one. So how are they going to enforce the situation when you're on council tax? You have to pay that. If you don't pay it, or on whatever they're going to find the funding to pay it, how are they going to enforce it? How is it going to work, folks? And it's just another way of just saying to you, that's what they're going to do. They're going to say to people, oh, let's try it out. What do you think? And it's not going to work, folks. It's not going to work. Simple as that. I mean, if you leave in the comments if you think it's going to work. How would you prefer it? Tell me now in the comments, and people can make their own minds up what's the best option. To pay more on your household budget, it's bad enough paying your bills now. It's one bill you could do without, because there's so much stuff you can watch without having, you know, a TV license. You know, there's stuff out there, and you've got a choice in life. You don't have to pay the BBC £200. In a few years' time, it's going to get on to £200. They'd have it today if they could get to £200. So £200, it's a lot of money for people who just want to pay, who don't want to pay. You know, it's a lot of money to save. Anyway, folks, leave your comments below and see what you think. It's not going to go on the council tax. There'll be rioting in the streets again, like the poll tax. It'll be another poll tax, a big mistake by any government. And it needs somebody who's got some sense how to run a company. And it's a job for the old boys in the TV, BBC's run by, well, you sing with Savile. It's a cult figure, you know, a cult. Everybody's on the gravy train, and you know, big pensions and big wages and stuff like this, and that's where it is. And it's got to change and be brought into the real world and be how can I put it? Be run properly, like a proper TV company. ITV is making profits. So anyway, leave your comments, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now. I'm off to the pub.